We are going to make today oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. Your recipe is in the classwork section of your of the Google Classroom. We are going to make these. They're really yummy. The first thing I'm going to do, as I always do, is wash my hands. So I will wash my hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, I'm going to rinse my hands. And I'm going to dry my hands with my handy dandy dryer that's always right here. Not everybody does that, but I like having a towel because I like to dry my hands and wash my hands often. The next thing that it says on here is to preheat oven to 350. So I'm going to push bake. It comes right up, but I'm going to push start. So there it is. Okay, we are going to need at least 1 bowl. I brought 2 out just in case, but I know we need 1 bowl. I have a spoon. I have a spatula. I have a turner or another kind of rubber spatula and a metal spatula. I have a big spoon to get the cookies on the cookie sheet. I have a cookie sheet that's over here with spray. Then I have all of our ingredients. I had to make sure I have brown sugar, I have regular sugar, I have flour and whole wheat flour, I have chocolate chips, I have oats, salt, baking soda, nutmeg, cinnamon, butter, and eggs. So I am ready to begin. The first thing that it says in my recipe, the recipe says a half of cup of shortening. I use butter. 1 stick is half a cup. So I'm gonna put it together. Now let me just tell you the shortening, if you use butter, it's much better if it's soft. And I've had this sitting on the counter for a few hours, so it's really soft and easy to use. So there, it says that. And then I'm going to, it says cream, sugar, shortening, vanilla, that looks like right here. And it says that we need a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. So I have my teaspoons. I'm going to use the 1 teaspoon. And my half teaspoon. So that's there. It says to do sugars. So I'm going to put this back on here so I don't lose it. Forget it. Okay? It has, we need a half a cup of regular sugar and a half a cup of brown sugar. They are different. White sugar, it goes like this. And we're going to, here it is, 1/2 a cup. And brown sugar, I'm going to put it in. You kind of have to pack it down. So I'm packing it down. There it is. There's a little too much, so I'm going to pack it a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so now I'm going to take my wooden spoon and I am going to stir this approximately for a minute, but I want to make sure that it's all nice and mixed. So the butter kind of, you have to squish it up still a little bit, but it should work really well because it's not hard. It's very soft. So I'm mixing it together. Sometimes this is called creaming. Sometimes you gotta go conk, conk, conk with your spoon, but I'm mixing it together. Mixing, 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 mixing. It's mixing. It's good exercise for my arm. As I mix this together, it's beginning to look like one big blob and not a bunch of little individual things as I mix it. So you probably could count to 60 and mix it, but there it is, it's mixed up. So it'll look like this. There it is. So then it says to add the egg. Now when I open an egg, here's my egg. I'm going to crack it on the side like that. And I'm gonna put my fingers in and I'm gonna open it up. Be really careful not to get any eggshells in it. And then this recipe has some water. There it is. My stove is warm. My oven is warm. So I'm just going to take 2 tablespoons of water. One. 2. Okay, so I'm going to stir this again. You can mix with either a spoon or electric mixer. Again, my friend that cooks said cookies are better if you use a spoon. They mix together better and they aren't as mixed. Sometimes you need to use a mixer, but I always make cookies with a spoon. It says to take my rubber spatula, which is this, and scrape off the edges. So I'm scraping off this, and I will scrape off the edges like this to make sure it's all in there very nicely and together. So now I need to add the whole wheat flour and the regular flour. This is just regular white flour. And when I do my flour, I'm looking for my green measuring cup. You see it?
Right there. Right here.
Okay, I got it moved down my way. When you do when you do flour, you use a knife. You get I will show you in class tomorrow how you do this too, so you know. But you take a knife and you scrape off the top. So there's 1 cup. And then I'm going to use the whole wheat flour. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to scrape off the edge so it's flat, so I know that I have exactly a cup. Remember I said sometimes cooking and baking is messy. Sometimes it's messy. I need to put the teaspoon. So I put a teaspoon of cinnamon. Make sure you don't mix up your teaspoon and your tablespoon. So you make sure it says teaspoon. So here's a teaspoon. I'll put it way in here. I have a big thing. These are usually nice that you can level it off just like that. So there's my teaspoon of that. I just need a teeny bit, a 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. I might take the lid off for this because it's easier to get my little spoon in here. And there it is. Okay. And then I need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You think, yucky, salt. But guess what? Salt is a compound that makes things cook better and makes things chemical reactions when they cook. So we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. There it is. So I'm going to mix these really well with my spoon. There it is. I'm mixing and mixing. It might seem a little dry. The cookies do seem a little dry. They smell so good. This smells so good. I wish you were here. But when you make them, you will see how good they are. Then I will go like this. I will scrape my sides again so I don't miss the stuff and it mixes all together. You want this mixed real well because you're going to see what I'm going to do next. And next, I'm going to add the oatmeal. Oatmeal is yummy. and it is good in it. I need to put 2 cups of oatmeal in here. So I know that my red is this, so I'm going to put 2 cups.
Any kind of oatmeal?
Yeah, any kind of oatmeal. I think that I would use, don't add instant oatmeal. Make sure it says old-fashioned oats. So there's 1 cup. And there's 2 cups. And then the chocolate chips. And it needs a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. And again, it's semi-sweet. Use the semi-sweet chocolate chips. So again, I'm going to use my 1/2 cup. And I'm going to put 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. And I'm going to mix these really well. Now the batter is going to get a little stiff.
Did you put baking soda in?
Baking soda. My husband just said baking soda. That's a good reminder that sometimes when you're reading the recipe, things are get a little wonky or a little bit messy. So I'm going to add, just let me come over here for a second, because so you are going to add, because I forgot this, it'll be okay, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Sometimes it's good to have when you have all the ingredients out there, it's good because if you forget something, then you can go, I didn't put that in yet. But it's also good to have a recipe. Okay, so I'm mixing these together. You gotta mix it hard because it gets really hard and it's stiff. It's not as creamy anymore because we added the oatmeal. So here they are. You will again have the recipe to follow. Here's what it looks like on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cookie sheet. We're going to spray it with the Pam. And then I'm going to use my big spoon and I'm going to make spoonfuls of cookie dough, just like this. My hands are clean. Remember, I washed them, so they're clean. So can you see them? I hope you can see them. I'll put about 8 on here. I'm making them pretty big. If you want to make them smaller, you can do that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, my oven is set. I'm going to get my hot pot holder and I am going to put them in the oven. And I'm going to put them in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. It does say if you want to flatten them a little bit, it would help. So you could flatten them. If you would like to, you can make them into little balls. So you could do, I'll do one more row to show you. You could put them in like this and make them into balls like this. If you would like to do that, that's okay too. I will make 4 little balls for you to see. Now you can flatten these then with the spoon. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm putting them in the oven. I'm gonna wash my hands first though because they're gooey. And then I am going to put them in the oven for 10 to 14 minutes. So I will probably put them in for 12 minutes and see if they're done. And then I will show them to you at class tomorrow. I'll show you the finished product tomorrow during class. So thank you and have a good evening. Bye-bye.